Tag TV and Tag Radio. Be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by Globalspeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of Globalspeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. 2010. As the song goes, it was a very good year. For Tag membership growth, expansion of Tag's vertical industry societies, for Tag's impact on government affairs and legislation, Tag's statewide outreach and its economic development initiatives, now headquartered in Savannah, dubbed Economic Gardening, Tag's growing nonprofit education collaborative, working on the key academic subjects of science, technology, engineering, and math. The huge success of legacy events like the Georgia Technology Summit, the top 40 innovative companies in Georgia, the Technology Hall of Fame induction, the Excalibur Awards, the Business Launch Competition, and more, much more, new events that promoted fellowship and business development month in and month out all year long. Greetings, everyone. It's Thursday, December 30th, 2010, and this is Tech Talk's annual year in review and New Year forecast with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. Last week's special annual 2010 Year in Review gave TAG members an opportunity to hear Tino personally chronicle one of TAG's most successful years as he presented an insider's overview of 2010 events, accomplishments, and initiatives. In this second part of our annual Tech Talk Review and Forecast, Tino now discusses the new year, its plans, projections, and outlook for the association's growth, impact, and resources. In just a few days, we will welcome in the new year as we celebrate with friends, family, and business associates. Let's take a few minutes to hear TAG's plans for the new year and to celebrate with Tino and fellow TAG members the prospects, the promise, and the potential of the Technology Associations of Georgia working together to make 2011 our best and most successful year ever. Well, Tino, it's just a few days before the new year. We're heading into an exciting, dynamic time. I know the economy is a little bit challenged, but certainly the growth and the impact and the resourcefulness of TAG is going to only bring a lot of benefits to a lot of our members at a time when probably they need it the most. We've talked a little bit last week about 2010 and a retrospective on the incredible year that TAG had. Now let's talk a little bit about 2011. Why don't we start with probably the fact that we're kind of where we left off, and that's where the Georgia Technology Summit, I think it's coming up in March. Give us a little insight into the summit.
It's March 23rd, and we are just starting to finalize some of the aspects of the event. As most of our listeners know, this is one of the main technology events in the Southeast, and we anticipate having 1,000 or more people in the audience. This year's theme, I'm excited about this year's theme. It's Innovation Next Generation, and it speaks to how the new generation of people entering the workforce think differently about how they approach their job and how they approach the elements of their job. And so we're bringing in speakers that can address that. And so we have Lisa Gansky, who's an author that's growing in stature. She just wrote a book called Mesh that's gotten some very strong reviews, and we're happy to have her in to be one of the anchors of the program. We're now working on a couple keynoters we can't announce yet, but people will be excited when they hear the names. There will also be the top 40 innovative technology companies. The Hall of Fame will be part of it, and so we'll have a full agenda from 7 in the morning till about 1:30 in the afternoon, and it's time now for people to think about buying a table, becoming a sponsor. We already have a number of sponsors, certainly nominating their company or someone they know some company they know for the top 40 innovative technology companies. People get a lot of mileage out of being recognized as one of the top 40s. I see it on their websites, on their news releases, and it's not just a one-year thing. We've had people we've recognized 2 or 3 years ago that are still promoting that they were a top 40 tag technology company.
Well, Top 40 is really a celebration of innovation. I think it validates a lot of we talk many years now about innovation being in our DNA, and certainly when you see those top 40 people come out and present the new and the next, it never ceases to amaze the crowd. I know it does it year in and year out. I think this year, too, I'm excited by this concept of where Georgia leads. I know you're going to be looking at a little bit of a different dynamic that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
TAG has been leading the charge, I will call it government-facing, to encourage our legislative leaders and the governor to think about if they're going to make an investment in anything in our state, they need to look at where clusters are established. So what we've been doing, not so quietly, but what we've been doing both through our state of the industry reports and our primary research is identifying areas where Georgia leads, and we've come up with such things as fintech, health IT, security, telecom, and some other emerging areas. And so what we want to do this year is keep with the innovation theme, but we also want to bring in some speakers that lead the way. Some of them will be national, some of them will be local in those 4 cluster areas so that, again, we can continue to solidify our position as a leader, make sure people are aware of that, and then think about ways that we can parlay that into growth for our state, both organic growth of companies that are here and then also recruiting new companies to town.
Now, once again, we'll go through the incredible list of events, the major events that TAG has been doing for years, and also now a number of new events that have happened over just the last year or so, but certainly the business launch, the Georgia Research Alliance Business Launch Competition, the Excalibur Awards. But those are the major ones. Go into some of the new ones that occurred last year that will be coming up again in 2011.
Well, as you said, the launch is really important. We've now selected 5 companies that have won the award. They're all still in business, and we've given out over $1 million in cash and suite of services to those companies. And we've already had several meetings planning for the 2011 program. The Excalibur Awards is one of our staple events. It's kind of our baseline. We're going to continue to do that hopefully every year, and it recognizes the tech-enabled companies, those that differentiate their business and create competitive advantage by utilizing technology. But in addition to that, our societies have really stepped up their efforts under the celebration and recognition theme with our encouragement. So TAG Health last year had a summit with over 600 people. This year, they're planning to do the same, and I'm sure they're going to be breaking records again in terms of participation, but more importantly, in terms of the content that people want to hear in that very important vertical in our community. In addition to that, this year, for the first time, we TAG took over the event, which was a legacy program with AEA, and it's called Spirit of Endeavor, and we were able to recognize a number of people in that area that and companies that are also taking advantage of technology. One fun award that we did in that program was the Cool Technology Award, and we had some great companies that participated and vied for top honors in that. We'll continue to have the Tag It Golf Tournament and plan to sell that out again with 240 golfers. We have the Techie 10K road race that's booked at Course 360. We even have started a program at Sea Island with CEOs from Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida participating. This year was 2010 was the first year we provided the program, and we hope to build it. We're going to invite some other state technology CEOs to participate as well, so that program will be growing, and it ties into our theme of the importance of peer-to-peer, CEO-to-CEO development, and helping them to create networks of their own that they can build relationships beyond passing out business cards to one another.
Well, and obviously, too, Georgia is where we talk when Georgia leads, and you mentioned national presentations at the summit and maybe some local ones, but I think even some of the local ones are from top C-level executives of companies that are national or international because, again, Georgia leads in so many areas. So the Sea Island situation is a natural from that standpoint as far as reaching out to not only the community throughout the city and the state, but southeast and quite possibly even throughout the nation. Let's touch a little bit about something that I know has been growing each year, and now, it started with a high-tech day at the Capitol, but TAG has really gotten very, very active in getting involved in government relations. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, we have a government relations director, and we came back actually from a trip from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania a few years ago with my board chairman and the incoming chair, and we asked the Pittsburgh Technology Council, our sister organization in Pennsylvania, as to what was important to their members and their leadership, and legislative issues ranked in the top 3 for them. And we came back committed to say we need to do more in that area. We're not up to where we want to be in respect to being part of the community, and certainly looking at legislation is a key piece to that. So we have a government relations task force that works with our Richie Johnson, who's our director in that area, and they have set some goals for the year, and one of the key goals that we want to bring forth to legislation this year is creating a strategic plan for technology. Georgia does not have an organized plan to how they want to impact what we feel is one of the most important industries in the state. So it becomes a bit catch as catch can, as one would say, and so we're going to make a strong effort to have legislation working with kind of public and private side, create a plan for our state. And the idea behind that is that we've looked at other states, we've benchmarked other states with our partners from the GTRI, Georgia Tech Research Institute, and we also have Georgia Tech students researching this semester and next semester where the best states are in terms of strategic planning, and there's an alignment with states that have strong technology strategic plans and states that are growing their technology industry. So we already have some positive feedback from legislators that will be coming into session in January, and we look forward to that. And we want to continue to look at broadening the endorsement of utilizing pension funds, state pension funds for use in alternative investments. And so those are a couple areas that we're going to be focusing on in the coming year, and we'll be keeping our eyes open for legislation that maybe we think will be detrimental to the community, or legislation that comes up that we think will be positive for the technology community. Certainly, we had a lot to say as the tax council that was appointed by the governor, the tax commission, to look at various taxes that we have now and tax credits as well, and to see what would be best in respect to the future, which one should stay, which one should go, and we were pleased to be contacted by the leadership to be one of the representatives of the technology community. And so we let our opinions be known, and we were told that they were greatly appreciated and have been built into some of the recommendations that will be going to the governor, so the new governor.
Well, I think if any of our listeners, certainly our members, ever wonder where their investment goes, it's so much going on in so many different areas, trying to develop, whether it's an individual or it's a particular vertical, or it's dealing in government relations and getting legislation either passed or prevented if it's helpful or hurtful to us. Let's talk about how the actual organization itself, the internal operation, has grown. I certainly can remember a time when we walked into the office and pretty much saw a desk and you, and that was about it. And now it's a case where I think that's changed a little bit. So maybe share that with some of our members.
Well, we had to start somewhere, and we had a group of 5 board members that were that executive leadership team, and I was appreciative of being offered the position a little over 6 years ago now. And one of the first things I said to the existing board is we need to build a board. And, of course, we've grown from 5 members to 66 members, all strong representatives of the community. And that had a lot to do with building our credibility in the community, as so many people wanted to be part of the organization. And in the old days, we used to have to aggressively recruit board members. Now we get calls on a weekly basis who wants to join our board, which is an indication, I think, of our growing stature in the community. So, that's been an important aspect of growing in the membership to from 1,500 when I first got here to now 11,500. Next year our goal is to have upwards of 14,000 members in the organization. So, and those things proportionally have led us to add more staff and make more of an impact. So the more resources we have, the more people we have to serve, the more staff and volunteers we've put into place. So, for example, the 28 societies, we staff every one of those societies with a person that helps the chairman and those and the boards move forward with their agendas. The legislative agenda is key. We got to the point where we've hired a COO and Melanie Brandt to basically help both from an operations side and some of the strategy elements. And then in addition to that, we have hired a number of people to support the membership side. We now have a group of 4 and with that team that focus on both sales and growth and then retention. Next year, our big hire will be the technology evangelist, if you will. We're going to hire a director of PR that's going to be Georgia's technology evangelist. So the goal there is someone needs to take a leadership role in promoting Georgia's technology community. The technology companies have told us this for a couple of years, and so we have the resources now where we could take a leadership position. And it's not for TAG. It's going to be I'll call it a loss leader in respect to revenue versus expense, but we're inviting all of the community, public and private community, that want to share with us their good news about what's happening with their technology company or in their region, and then we're going to work hard to get that broadcast as far as we can broadcast it, whether that be on YouTube or the Wall Street Journal or TAG TV or TAG Radio. We're going to work to promote Georgia's technology community. So that's our new position, and we'll have basically 14 staff here. We did start out with just a couple of us, so it's been growing. But the thing I want to point out is we're not on a wild growth track. Typically what we do is, as a good nonprofit, we try to stay at around 50% of our operating budget with administration, salaries and administration. And that administration actually is not like I'll call it soft side, where they're doing administration that doesn't tie directly into the business. All of our staff tie directly into the business. So we're running at about 48% of our $2.5 million budget is for staffing and administration. And that's a good ratio. We've kept that all 6 years that I've been here. So as we grow and we do more, we proportionally add staff who can support the next level of growth.
Well, and one of the areas I think also is not only the physical resources that you've described, but also now even some of the virtual ones. Certainly you've mentioned TAG TV, TAG Radio, and that's what you're listening to today is TAG Radio. But also I think something that's really beginning to build momentum and getting a lot of buzz is TAG Think. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we have 2 websites now. Some people would say we probably should converge them into one, but we like the idea of our tagonline.org site, which people know, and that's our site where we push out a lot of information, calendar of events, who the staff are that are with us. We also have all of our societies listed in there. Really, it's a full set of information. It talks about, of course, the TAG Radio and TAG TV. And then but we decided we wanted to have more of an interactive site, so we created a second site called tagthink.com. And that's a site where people can post their press releases, they can create forums, they can write white papers. So it's meant to be a real interactive site for the technology community. As you said, they're both continuing to grow. We're just looking at the numbers on tagonline.org, and I remember when we were getting 4,000 unique visitors a month, and last month we hit about 16,000 unique visitors. So in the course of a year, we'll be reaching about 200,000 unique visitors on the tagonline.org site alone, and then the tagthink.com site is also growing. So they have about 4,000 to 5,000 visitors a month, and that's picking up steam. We have about 1,000 people that are on that site using the site. And then we also take advantage of Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, and people can become fans of tags. So we're trying to practice what we preach in respect to new media, and people have all different ways they want to receive information, so we want to respect that and respond to that.
Well, we've covered an awful lot. There's probably more still to cover, but tell us a little bit about, we're looking towards the end of a year. Certainly it's been a struggle for many, but some have grown. We talked about health IT and fintech. There's markets out there that security, logistics, that seemingly have some of the best years they've had in a very long period of time. You want to kind of take a look at 2011 and give us a feeling about what your gut says about how things are going to go for the state of Georgia's technology industry?
Well, we've had an opportunity to communicate in the newspaper and other forms of media in respect to what we think about the future, so I'm happy to talk a little bit about that. I'm bullish on 2011, particularly as it's compared to say 2009. In 2010, the technology community was relatively stable. We look at numbers like number of technology employees in the state, and we were one of the few industries that remained constant, and say fairly flat, but flat was the new up, right? So we still have about 180,000 technologists in the state. We've lost some companies, but we gained a lot of new companies as well. Companies, Frank, that can show an ROI have done well. I'd say that smaller companies that have been able to be nimble and quick, and the larger ones as well, but the smaller companies that have been able to really respond to the marketplace have done extremely well. And we're also seeing some of our friends on the service side, whether it be staffing augmentation, contract staffing, some of the areas of special accounting, even some of the areas of legal, have had good years, and they're expecting even better years in even a better year in 2011. So I think again, those cluster areas were positioned well, whether it be health IT or smart grid, and also if they're a company of any size that can show an ROI and help create efficiencies for the companies they serve, then they're going to be okay and actually be growing in 2011. So one of our goals that we have to work on is getting more venture investment dollars in here, and we have some plans for that. Certainly a program like Venture Atlanta, which TAG was one of 3 founding organizations, has helped to bring in over 250 VCs from around the country. Those are good things, and they're a start in the right direction in respect to bringing in more venture dollars, which is an important component. And we want to keep our talent here. Once they graduate from college, for example, we want to see how many of them we can keep here, and part of that's creating those jobs that align with their area of interest. But Atlanta's a great place still, and Georgia is a great place. We've got one of the best airports. We've got great universities, and we have many entrepreneurs that are building businesses. So all the ingredients are here. We have some things we have to work on, and that's why I think TAG is here, and we're looking forward to doing that.
Well, as you were talking about the things that were great, like the airport, I think it would be remiss not to say we have a great technology organization that we talked in our last discussion about the review of 2010 that maybe we had seen a tipping point. Now I think we're really poised to really support, really bring to the table a lot more capabilities, talents, and resources to the trade, to the industry that's going to be maybe challenged, but also challenged not only by a challenging, difficult marketplace, but maybe a new and exciting one in some of these verticals where Georgia leads so strongly. Well, one last point, and I think you'd probably want to say maybe a wish for a Happy New Year to our listeners before you go.
Yeah, and to you, Frank, as well. Happy New Year, happy holidays to everyone, and look forward to seeing you in TAG circles in 2011.
Well, thank you for joining us again on Tech Talk, and we invite everyone to continue to join us. We're up twice a week now with our Tuesdays and Thursday broadcast, and we'll be doing that throughout 2011. And I think one last point, and that is to say thank you so much to Tino for the great job he's doing, to the great staff at TAG, and to all of our members, a happy, happy New Year.